You ever sit there, staring at a wall, phone in hand, but you're not even scrolling anymore? Not tired, not sad, just blank. It's like your brain clocked out early and didn't even bother leaving a note. 1 minute you're juggling life like a half-decent magician, and the next, boom. Even replying to a simple, "How are you?" feels like a performance. That's not just being tired. That's emotional burnout sneaking in the back door, quietly moving your furniture around while you pretend everything's still where it should be. And the tricky part? It doesn't announce itself with a big dramatic breakdown. No crying on the kitchen floor required. Sometimes it's just a slow drip. You wake up and the world feels muted. The things that used to spark even a flicker of energy, music, food, people, they all blur into one long meh. You still get your work done. You still smile when you need to. But it feels like you're carrying around a version of yourself that's slowly fading, like someone left your soul on low brightness mode. And no, this isn't just for people with busy jobs or packed schedules. Even a chill routine can be draining if the emotional inputs keep taking without ever giving back. It's not about how much you're doing. It's about how often you're forced to feel with no space to process. Constantly managing expectations, navigating drama, pretending to care when your internal battery is already blinking red. But what exactly causes this slow emotional shutdown? Is it always tied to stress? Or are there deeper currents under the surface we don't see coming until we're already sinking? Turns out emotional burnout doesn't always come from chaos. Sometimes it's the repetition that wears you down. The quiet, invisible routines that ask you to show up day after day with a smile even when you've got nothing left in the tank. It's the kind of fatigue that builds not from a single crash, but from 1,000 tiny cuts, each one small enough to ignore until you can't anymore. And the science backs this up. Emotional exhaustion is often linked not just to overwork, but to lack of control, lack of meaning, and lack of connection. Basically, when you're forced to care about things that feel empty or forced to act like you're fine when you're not. Psychologically, your brain is like, wait, we've been pretending to be okay for how many days in a row now? And your emotional circuits start shorting out. That's when you get that weird disconnected feeling, like you're watching yourself go through life from the outside, mildly annoyed by your own existence. It's called depersonalization, and it's way more common than you'd think. Physically, burnout messes with your sleep, your digestion, even your posture. Your nervous system stays stuck in fight or flight mode, but there's nothing to fight and nowhere to fly. So your body just kind of vibrates with restlessness or shuts down with fatigue. 1 minute you want to nap for 10 hours, the next you're wide awake at 2 a.m. for no reason, contemplating your 2008 life decisions. Socially, it gets even sneakier. You start canceling plans, not because you don't like people, but because the idea of interacting just feels like too much. Even a short conversation feels like lifting a couch up 3 flights of stairs. So you drift. You go quiet. And people don't always get it because from the outside, you seem fine. And this is where it really messes with you. If everything's fine, why do you feel like this? And that brings us to the part nobody wants to admit. What's the real cause behind emotional burnout? And is there even a way out once you've hit that blank, heavy wall? Here's the gut punch. Emotional burnout isn't always caused by something dramatic. Sometimes it's caused by being too good at coping. You hold it together too well for too long. You become the reliable one, the one who handles pressure, the one who never complains. But inside, you've been quietly racking up emotional debt, pushing through things your brain never had time to feel, let alone process. And eventually, your system taps out, not with a scream, but with silence. And the real cause? It's often misalignment. You're spending your energy on things that don't align with what you actually value. Maybe you're constantly helping people who never ask how you're doing. Maybe you're pouring your time into a job or relationship that doesn't reflect your identity anymore. And every time you silence that tiny voice inside that says, "This isn't it," you pay a toll. Bit by bit, it adds up, until the weight gets heavy enough that even simple tasks feel like wading through wet cement. Here's the kicker: when you're burnt out emotionally, you don't just lose motivation. You lose interest. That spark of curiosity, the desire to create, to connect, to explore, poof, gone. It's like someone's taken the color out of your emotional palette. And when you go looking for it, you can't even remember what used to excite you. That's the scariest part. The emptiness doesn't always feel painful. It just feels nothing. And that nothingness? That's your body and brain protecting you. It's not weakness. It's a survival response. When emotional input exceeds your ability to respond, your system hits the brakes. It's saying stop. We need to heal. But how do you actually start doing that? How do you go from nothing feels right to slowly finding your way back to feeling anything again? That's where the work begins, because escaping emotional burnout isn't about snapping out of it. It's about gently rebooting your emotional system. And oddly enough, the first step might be something as small as doing absolutely nothing. So how do you come back from emotional burnout? How do you restart when you feel like there's nothing left inside to restart with? It begins with something surprisingly simple: permission. Permission to stop pretending everything's fine. To be messy. To not be productive. Burnout doesn't go away because you push through, it eases when you pull back. When you create even a sliver of space where you don't have to perform, where you can just exist. No pressure, no agenda. Just breath. From there, it's about noticing tiny sparks. Not joy, not yet, but the smallest moments that feel okay. Sitting in silence. Saying no without guilt. Revisiting old music, shows, weird hobbies you once forgot you liked. That flicker of, oh, I kind of needed this, that's not random. That's your nervous system quietly rebooting. And you don't need to fix your whole life overnight. Start smaller. Maybe you cut out one draining obligation. Maybe you admit to a friend that you're exhausted. Maybe you just take a nap without guilt, which, let's be honest, feels rebellious when you've been in grind mode for too long. These small acts of defiance against burnout? They add up. And remember, this isn't just about being tired. Emotional burnout comes from misalignment. From spending your energy on things that drain you, from constantly pretending to care when you're numb, from not feeling safe enough to feel anything at all. Your brain isn't broken, it's protecting you. You're not lazy. You're overloaded. There's a difference. So, what causes emotional shutdown? Not just stress. It's too much feeling, too little release. Too much performing, not enough being. It's the slow erosion of self in environments that don't let you be yourself. Is there a way out? Yes, but it starts small. No big fix. Just tiny reconnections to what makes you you. Don't chase purpose. Chase presence. Even 5 seconds of feeling like yourself again is progress. And what does it actually mean to be emotionally burnt out? It means you've carried too much for too long in silence. And now your brain has pulled the emergency brake. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's your body saying, stop. Something's off. Let's breathe. But here's the hopeful part: if your system knows how to shut down to protect you, it also knows how to slowly come back online if you let it. It remembers. So maybe ask yourself this. What's one thing today that didn't drain you? Not what excited you, not what impressed someone else, just something that didn't take from you. That's your clue. Start there. The rest will come quietly and slowly, right on time.